Hey guys, I hope my audio's okay. I'm out in nature on a hill and it's kind of windy, but let's just see what happens. So today I want to talk about my flip phone journey. I've been using a flip phone for about a month now, and it's honestly just made me so much more energized, more connected with myself, more creative, and has really benefited me as a student as well. I feel a lot less of a need to consume material goods and mindless digital media. So I just feel a lot more centered, present, and everything just feels a little bit easier. If you guys want to hear me talk about the benefits in full detail, please go to my other video. I'll link it up above right here about why I went flip phone mode and why I've stayed this way. I also want to thank you guys for 230 subscribers. That might seem kind of insignificant compared to larger creators, but it truly does seem like a lot for me, and I'm so thrilled that you guys want to listen to me talk. And please subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys being here. How I like to think about my screen time is basically time that I spend being employed by the people that own the platform that I'm spending time on, besides purely kind of utilitarian and necessary actions such as email, notes, alarms, stuff like that. But I like to think about it this way. I take my screen time, multiply the hours by at least minimum wage. That's the amount that they should technically be paying me, if not more. I think that there's a lot of hidden costs even. So we're basically paying with our mind, our kind of creative, intellectual, and cognitive autonomy and agency. I think that there are a lot of hidden costs that now that I have gone flip phone mode, I now see how a lot of those things that I didn't used to have come back to me, and I honestly just can't imagine going back to full-time smartphone. In the age of surveillance capitalism, I feel like it's increasingly important to be aware of how you spend your time online and the data that's being collected on you. I think that a lot of data privacy laws have just not caught up to technology yet. There's so much problems that we don't even really know about. If you guys are curious, and not to get too big brothery, but look into Palintir. Palintir is a company that kind of harvests data and has a lot of contracts with organizations such as the FBI, and they do questionable things with the military. And if you also say oh, I have nothing to worry about, I'm a lawful citizen, these companies could be using your data in ways that you don't even know, such as discriminating against you in terms of health insurance and a bunch of other things that could be potentially very problematic and that haven't even emerged as issues yet, but we can see them be expressed in societies that are already dealing with this problem to a greater degree. And this surveillance capitalism seems to not be really realistic in America, but it's already happening and it's progressing every day to a more radical level. Also, just like our brains and biology are not used to being around smartphones and technology the way that they are, it's just severely overwhelming to see so many things happening, so many faces, so much human emotions. We just aren't really built to process things like that in such great quantities as well. So I found a lot of peace and emotional capacity in opting out of it. Every time you basically use social media, you are strengthening detrimental neural pathways in your brain and really setting yourself up for failure in all other offline areas of your life. But thankfully, our brains are very malleable, and neuroplasticity allows us to reverse some of the damage technology has caused. I want to bring up these two very interesting studies that I found. I'll just read directly from the quotes that I pulled. This one was about social media abstinence for 14 days. And it found that relative to controls, participants restricting digital media reported a variety of benefits, including higher life satisfaction, mindfulness, autonomy, competence, and self-esteem, and reduced loneliness and stress. I think those are some pretty significant findings. Another one found that excessive, uncontrolled use of social media was associated with higher attentional impulsivity, especially if there are additionally reductions in executive functions or specific inhibitory control. So let me just explain some of that jargon to you guys. Executive function is a set of cognitive skill that helps individuals plan, organize, and manage tasks, behaviors, and emotions. And inhibitory control allows individuals to override automatic or habitual responses. So you see how this can kind of create a cycle of use where your use reinforces your pathways that encourage you to use it. And really, a great way to break this cycle is just by changing your environment. These findings don't really at all surprise me. They're literally engineered to maximize addictiveness and maximize the amount of time we give them. Next, I want to talk about boredom. I think boredom is so important and such kind of like a lost thing in today's society. I made this little graphic, which I'll put up on the screen. It's based on nothing except my own thoughts, so take it with a grain of salt. But basically, there's easy things and hard things. The first step is getting from easy things to boredom, which is really difficult. It's basically saying no to that like easy, fun dopamine and stimulation and kind of sitting with this sometimes very uncomfortable boredom. And that's why I have the little red arrow pointing back. Sometimes we regress from boredom back into the easy things, and that's what kind of keeps us in the loop of never really sitting with our thoughts and never really being pushed into the next stage of hard things. Hard things, I choose to kind of define that as acts of creation, whatever that means to you, whether that's creating art, relationships, thoughts, or creating a meaningful discourse with media that you interact with. I think that that should be defined on a personal level. So as you guys can see, I've also put some outcomes. I think the outcomes of the easy things are all kind of negative. This is subjective, but this is how I choose to view it. And then the outcomes of the hard things include things such as learning, longer attention span, better informational retention, more focus in just having more meaningful interactions with media. Another notable thing is I think that if you engage in harder things, you're more likely to see progress in those things and really have an arc and a trajectory and some sort of tangible outcome. I cannot make a video about digital minimalism without bringing up Screenzen. They are the best app to limit your social media use. Basically, you can go on an app and block it, so you make yourself wait a certain amount of time before opening it. It's the only thing that's worked for me when I was on my smartphone, and I highly recommend it. I'm telling all my friends. It's made by small developers, so go support them while supporting yourself. I recently saw this tweet about having 4 hobbies that kind of circle back to 4 main themes: consume, create, cavort, and commune. So that's something creative, something consumptive, something to move your body, and something to further connections with people and promote intimacy, whether that's platonic intimacy or romantic intimacy, and to really build a community and be within that community. Having this more holistic understanding of your activities can be helpful to make sure that you're kind of hitting all the bases. And obviously, spending time on our phones is often almost exclusively consume. And I think kind of there are quality grades of consume as well. I think you can have better, more meaningful, and consumption that kind of stays with you for longer. I also look absolutely crazy right now. I'm literally sitting on a hill talking to myself, and there's someone coming, but hey, it's okay. Next, I want to talk about my objects that I have that have kind of replaced parts of my smartphone and made the transition actually super fun and have really expanded on some areas of my life. First is my flip phone, star of the show. It does everything I needed to. I can call, text, use Google Maps. There goes a notification. We don't really need much. I feel like we think we need more than we do. I was worried about not having a lot of things before I got a flip phone, but I ended up being just fine, and I honestly have not come across a scenario where it was insufficient yet. It's important to note I do live in a small town where I kind of know how to get everywhere, but yeah, I've been loving my flip phone. Watch my other video to hear more about it, and I'm thinking about doing a more in-depth tour and setup tutorial of my flip phone soon, so subscribe and stay tuned for that. Next is my journal. I love the Moleskine notebooks. They're so good. I'm not going to show you guys my pages because there's probably going to be some raw, emotional, melodramatic scribbling on there. Kind of do a variety of things in there. I mostly just like journal about my days and how I'm feeling, but sometimes I'll put photos in. I have this camera I got off Amazon, and my favorite, sorry, has extremely creepy on sound, but it will print a photo right away. And I cut these out and I put these in my journal. It's so cute. Not the best quality, but that's not the point. Prints it out on paper. All you have to do is refill the paper rolls. Once they run out, they last forever. I'm only on my second one. And then, yeah, there's no ink in it or anything. I'll link it down below. It's like 45 bucks on Amazon. So if you're a journaler, you're going to love that camera. I also just carry around this small little notebook to take notes on things. Like sometimes I'll write down the name of a song I'll hear on the radio, or a little recipe, or a little note or list to do. Just kind of like a physical replacement of my notes app on my smartphone. Next is my digital camera. Mine is the Casio XLM 10.1 megapixels camera. It's literally just the one I had when I was 12. It has okay quality, but again, that's not really the point. I might upgrade to like a nice film camera eventually, but that's not really a priority for me right now. I think it's all about just bringing it out, and honestly, we really take way too many photos. We don't need 14,000 photos. I think it's just at some point they lose meaning. Next is reading and books. This is the book I'm currently reading. It's very good. This is how much I've read, like the bigger part, since like the beginning of May. And I have been trying to get back into reading. I'm not a big reader, and just having that be pretty easy now that I don't have my phone has been so refreshing. I used to have to like force myself and plan it, and now I genuinely just like want to read my books. Next thing on my list is like movies. I don't have a physical one with me, but I've been really into film and like much more engaged with them ever since getting a flip phone, and I've just been thinking about the ones I've been watching so much. Follow me on my Letterboxd, by the way. It's linked down below, but I think it's one of my top social medias right now. I've been loving it, logging everything I'm watching, growing my watch list, just ready to monotask all my watch lists this summer. No double screening over here. I also have a sketchbook, and this is kind of like a work in progress for me, but I've been using it to like take notes for class and just not bring out my iPad. I have an iPad for taking notes, but I try not to now if I can take physical notes, and honestly, it's been a game changer. I feel a lot more focused in class and engaged, and I remember everything much better. So if you have the choice to not take notes on a device, highly recommend. And just having something, if I do want to get creative and maybe doodle something or draw something, it's nice to just have something to catch it. The next thing is not something I have, but something I really want. I've recently really been wanting to subscribe and read a physical print magazine, but there aren't really any cool ones I know of. I've been considering the New Yorker, or also Art Forum is apparently good, but I have not really looked into it much, so if you guys have a recommendation, please let me know. I have some old ones, like some Life magazines, some Nat Geos, and this weird old Italian art magazine that I like to flip through. They're also cool, like pieces of history, but I do really want a current one to stay up to date on like news, cool people, cool projects. The next one's a little unhinged, but stay with me. Snail mail. Send ominous letters to former lovers. You can send little flat objects like tea, seashells to friends. Just get crazy with it. Just start sending your friends mail, like freak them out. ask for people's address, but like without creeping them out. But I think this could be so fun, and like sending postcards if you're traveling, and like stamps are only 73 cents. In conclusion, I think everyone deserves creative, cognitive, and intellectual agency and fulfillment. And being chronically online just really does the opposite. So log off, get your dumb phone, download Screenzen, get your life back. I seriously have like 3 or 4 extra hours in my days now, and I cannot imagine going back. So consider it. Also, consider liking and subscribing. I will be an unemployed grad student soon, so being able to make some money off of this would be absolutely stunning because I love it. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.